Mind your manners. It's public. We're gonna look good or we're gonna look bad. Uh-huh.
What did I do? You.
الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. Now, okay, so this is 10, class 10, and we have guests from Georgia here today, Muhammad Torre and Hawa Torre, right? Now, okay, so we're not going to have a heavy class today. We're not going to have a lot of instruction. Also, because I was late, and I apologize to you all, I was late adding those videos. You guys need time to go over those videos about the letters. So we have 12 letters now, right? We have 12 letters now. Please listen to those videos. Repeat it over and over again. Repetition is nothing like repetition. Anytime. A lot of times we see the result and we're amazed. And there's nothing wrong with being amazed and being impressed for people doing hard work, right? However, at the same time, we still need to learn the process, because the process, when you see the process, it lets you know that I can do that. I could do that. So the process, I'm going to be honest with you, is repetition. You say, man, he memorized the whole Quran. He repeated it over and over again until it stuck. He memorized all those hadith. He repeated them over and over again until they stuck. Right? Nobody is born with the Quran in his head. Nobody is born with hadith in his head like that. And even when it comes to the Arabic language, people who are born Arab have to learn Arabic, right? So anything, just to let you all know, anything that, right? Yeah, anything that another human being did, unless it's receiving revelation, then you can do it, right? Unless Allah Ta'ala tested you with some inability, that would not allow you to reach that level, okay? And like that. So inshallah, you can do anything another human being did. So we took those letters. Who's prepared to go over most of them? Nisa. Yeah, the name and yeah, all together. Remember, we did it 2 ways, right? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's the name of it? Kha. Kha. Mm-hmm. Edit. Edit. Uh-huh. Mm-mm. Again, Val? I can't hear you. Nah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's the name of that letter? Nah. Mm-mm. We said that if you don't say the Z right, it becomes seen. So the Z is Z as right? We didn't look, mashallah, you ready? Mashallah, she's going forward. That's the diligence that we need. That's the diligence that we need. Why? Because when we get finished, we want as close to perfection as we can get. Why? Because these letters that we're using make up words, and those words are going to be in the Quran. And we gave many examples that if you mispronounce the letter, it could change the whole meaning. An example. We gave this example before. From the names of Allah, Ali, or you can say Al Ali, Al Ali, Al Ali, Al Ali, Bil Ain, Ali. Okay, then we have this. Alim. Al-Alim. Al-Alim. So this is Al-Alim. 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 And Al-Alim. 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 So this means the all-knowing, right? The one, and you can't translate the names of Allah. It means more than all-knowing. It means the one who has knowledge that was not preceded by ignorance. And is not disturbed by confusion nor doubt, nor is it tainted by forgetfulness. Al-Alim. So Allah Ta'ala, his knowledge, he didn't have to learn it. His knowledge was always with him of every single thing. He's never confused. People who learn us, creation, the knowledge of creation begin with ignorance. Even animals, even though they're instinctful, they move by instinct, but they're taught by the older animals how to work with that instinct. Pups and cubs of bears and like that, they stick with their mother until they learn and they perfect, how to hunt and like that. Then they're allowed to go off and like that. Puppies and kittens and like that. So everything that has knowledge, every creation, their knowledge is preceded by ignorance. And they can become confused. Animals, humans, every creation that has some type of knowledge can become confused, unsure about what they know. Allah Ta'ala that never happens to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And can forget after knowing. As Allah says, to the point that you reach the old age till you don't know anything after having knowledge. Right? Become senile. Or Alzheimer's. May Allah protect us and our parents and our grandparents from that ani. Right? So, Alim. Al-Alim. This means the all knowledgeable. This means the painful. So which one can we say is Allah's name? So if we mispronounce Allah's name, Alim, we end up calling Allah the painful instead of calling him the all-knowing. It's the danger of a mispronunciation, right? So we want to be very careful and we want to learn the way things are pronounced correctly and like that. Okay, so Abdul Haq, your turn. Oh, the letters? Yeah, the letters.
Ba, ba, abba, ta, ta, at, at, jeen, j, aj, ha, ah, kho, kho, ak, dal, ad,
Yeah.
dal, ad, dal, ad, raw, raw, ar, zai, z, az, sin, as, sheen, ash.
Evie, what you do? You can do it? Okay.
dan, da,
Again,
dan, da, ad,
add it.
dan, da, ad, ra, ar, da, az,
Zay,
zay,
not za.
az, sin,
Seen.
sin, as, shin, ash,
Nah, Sheikh. There it is.
There we go. And
Mhm.
Gene, and
Gene,
Gene,
not ja. Nah. Mhm.
Ha,
Not ha.
oh, ha,
Nah. No.
ho,
Akho,
ho,
ekh. Mhm.
dan, Eden,
Mhm.
no, dan,
Nah.
ro, ar,
Nah. Uh-huh.
they, as,
Nah. Muhammad.
seen,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot.
okay,
I forgot we took seeing this. I keep trying to stop you at Zay, but I forgot we took seeing this shit now.
seen, as,
Nah.
she,
Asha.
okay. As,
Nah. Jazakallah khair.
I'm working on it.
Can you get now? MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
Ba, bo, abu,
Mhm.
cha, et,
Mhm.
za,
No, again.
da,
Air.
da, ed,
Just air. Nah.
jim, aj,
Mhm.
ha,
Nah.
ho,
Mhm.
dal, d, az,
Mhm.
zal, ed,
Mhm.
ro, ar,
Mhm.
zal,
Zay.
zay,
Mhm.
ez,
Mhm.
sin, s,
Mhm.
shin, ash.
Nah. I skipped you. Or you in? Or yeah, okay. Mhm. Remember we said the back? You don't fold your lips, you just say back. Mhm. And you going back to the thought, you going to the thought. No, it's ah. Like if you, let me see an example. Like you take let a deep air out. Ah.
Ho, dal,
Mhm.
dal,
Mhm.
I, as, seen, as,
Mhm.
she,
Inshallah. You in Hawa? Okay, so these are the sounds of the letters. Now what we're gonna do is take a little bit of vocabulary today. Who remembers the pronouns?
oh, I know what happened.
Ah,
Anta wa anti, antu, antuna, 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 wahia.
Not an alif, antuna.
Antuna,
Fatha. Now.
antuna, وهو وهي وهما وهم وهن.
Now. MashaAllah. Ibi.
أنا ونحن
Say nahnu.
ونحن وأنت وأنت أنت وأنتما
وأنتما.
وأنتم
No correct for you. Let me correct.
وهي وهما
Oh, shit.
أنا ونحن وأنت وأنت وأنتما وأنتم وأنتن
MashaAllah.
وهو
Let me write. MashaAllah.
وهي وهما وهو وهن
Now.
أنا ونحن وأنت وأنت وأنتما وأنتم وأنتن وهو وهي وهما و
You got it.
وأن
وهم.
وهم
Mhm.
وأنا
You said that already. وهو وهي وهما وهم وهن. وهن.
وأنت وأنت وأنتم وأنتما وأنتم وأنتم ونحن وأنت وأنت
Remember, don't. Oh. And auntie, auntie.
وهي وهما وهم
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So we went over the isti'adha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So who can break down what that means? What does a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim mean? Abdul Haq.
A'udhu billahi means I seek refuge in or with Allah, the one who is worthy of worship.
I want you to break it down.
Oh, break down.
Yeah.
Okay. A'udhu.
So we went over this, Muhammad, Hawa, a'udhu. It's something we say all the time, but we may not know what it truly means. So
A'udhu is I seek refuge with, in or with.
remember,
I seek shelter and protection.
I seek shelter. So when you say this, a'udhu, you're saying I seek shelter, right? And protection. So what I was saying earlier, when I was saying that I first started giving Dawah in 2017, what I was saying is that the way I do tests, it's not really multiple choice. I'm going to hand you guys some papers. Which one is the meaning of a'udhu? Which one is this, that, and the third? And I really don't go that way. I'm kind of unorthodox based on what people are used to when it comes to study. So our test, we have tests coming up. Our test is that you have to give the class. Each person will have an opportunity to give the class, right? Because in the dissemination of information, now when information is delivered, I think I talked to you guys about before the 3 ways, or you guys had left early. So we talked about the 3 ways that information is disseminated, right? We talked about education, teaching, and indoctrination. So In a technical class like learning language, I like to educate. And we spoke about what education is. Education is what? The passing on or the dissemination of information while paying attention to the comprehension and practical application. Teaching is the dissemination of information while paying attention to the comprehension, but you have no connection to whether it's applied or not, right? You go to school to learn math. The teacher doesn't say, okay, when you went to the store, did you apply the division that you learned? The teacher's not worried about that. I'm worried about you guys. If you're applying, when you're using Arabic, are you going to apply the proper pronunciation? I'm worried about it. So in order for me to ascertain that, I can't follow you guys around, but what I can do is say, okay, give the class. Teach us what you learned. And this, the benefit of it is that whatever level that you reach, that you do well, I know that, oh, this person can teach up to that. So now this information is not going to die with me, because this is what's important, to leave a legacy. We talked about earlier now.
Do you know, wait, when is a test?
I'll let you know. Nah, always be prepared, because you never know. Like I said, I'm unorthodox, right? So it's not going to be what you're used to. So it's going to be like, okay, today we have a test. Evie, give the class from, let's say, break down the first 5 of the 10 things that we took as our introduction. Then Evie gets up and he begins breaking down. How do we assess the value of a thing, right? And he break all of that down. I might say, Muhammad, okay, break down, give us a lesson on the 6 categories of vocabulary. So Muhammad gets up and begins to teach us the 6 categories of vocabulary. The reason for this, brothers and sisters, it is no benefit to me to stand up here day in and day out, and I'm not sure if you guys are actually getting anything out of what's being said, right? That if you want to talk about, everybody today, and I'm pretty, you guys, even though some of you are young, most of you are young, I'm pretty sure you've heard speeches and the inspirational speakers talk about generational wealth, right?
Yeah.
Who heard the term generational wealth before? Okay. What do you understand, Anissa, from generational wealth? What does it mean? Yeah, wealth is passed down. How what? What do you understand from the term generational wealth? If you don't understand it, say it. If you understand it, say what you understand. What do you understand from the term generational wealth? Yeah. Okay. Good. Muhammad.
The money I have to be passed down to my children, my grandkids.
The money has to pass down to his children and his grandkids. Okay.
I was about to say the same thing.
Same thing. Right? Same thing. Yeah. So this Evie. Inheritance. MashaAllah. Knowledge.
Both knowledge and will. But it also can be debt.
Debt.
That's what we talk about. Know who you are.
Uh-huh.
American, African, whatever,
Uh-huh.
have been known to inherit debt
Debt.
instead of wealth.
Nah.
That's why my parents taught us that. We try to make sure we have wealth passed down.
Rather than debt.
Because
Nah.
most of African Americans are known for passing debt down
Instead of wealth.
instead of wealth.
Muhammad.
Uh,
Generational wealth.
it's like a will, like
Like a will.
some people that's about to die, they give their money and stuff to their kids or their grandkids.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. So it's like basically everybody said the correct answer. So this new, trust me, once something becomes popular and mainstream, don't trust it. But then something becomes popular, this generational wealth thing, everybody's talking about it, something's going wrong. Once the media busies you with something that everybody's busy with it, something's being hidden. So now everybody's talking about generational wealth. Okay, what are you hiding while everybody's worried about generational wealth? Generational wealth is true and false at the same time. Okay? Generational wealth is true and it's false at the same time. There's a lot of detail that goes into generational wealth. It's not about one generation amassing wealth, and just because this generation amass wealth and they have offspring, it means that that wealth is going to be generational. It's not. That's not the reality. Number one, in order for wealth to be generational, the generation that is amassing the wealth, that's collecting it, has to prepare the generation that's going to receive it and pass it on. They have to be there to receive it. Number two, generational wealth cannot be merely tangible. You can touch cars, houses, real estate, as they say, money. That can't be generational wealth because that can be lost or taken. We're sitting here in the United States of America, and we know that the United States of America had indigenous people, right? People that were here already before the English came. They were already here. So when you have listen to a class, a lecture about generational wealth, get into real estate, you want to leave the real estate, to your children and to your children's children. How does that conversation sound to someone indigenous? Who this was all their land, and it was taken by force. And you want to talk to him about buying real estate, and you will tell me to buy, but this was a generational wealth of my family. Y'all took it, and then you tell me to buy it. You're telling me to invest in what belonged to my people anyway? So now, how does that conversation of generational wealth sound to a Native American? Sound crazy, right? Exactly. How does generational wealth sound to the island of Mayotte in the Comoros? Comoros, 4 islands, right? Was invaded by the French, colonized by the French. Mayotte, I don't speak French, so Mayotte, I understand in French, right? Is still occupied by France, does not have their independence. For those who like perfume, most of the raw ingredients to make perfume is coming from that island. Yes, Ledyard is one of the poorest places in the world. Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, Rihanna, all of that. That is coming from Mayo. It's in the Comoros Islands. In Africa. It's in Africa. Right?
Chocolate is in Africa.
Chocolate is in Ghana. Chocolate is all over Africa. So now, all of these fragrances, the raw ingredients are coming from there. And France is bragging, we have the best perfume. Yeah, of course I got the best perfume. They're getting it from the best place, but the money is not trickling back on the people. So now, imagine someone saying, yeah, you can invest in the fragrance business and set it up and leave generational wealth. The people of Mayotte saying, what are you talking about? We're colonized. In 2023, they're colonized. And France just tried to pass a law. This is the crazy part, right? France just tried to pass a law to deport the people, the indigenous people from the island of Mayotte, and kick them out to the other 3 islands that have their independence, so it can be all France. It belongs to France. This is in 2023.
Or French people.
They want to kick out the Africans, the Comoros, people that this place belongs to, kick them out and say this is France. And you guys go to those other 3 islands that have their independence. This is going on right now in 2023. Yeah. Of their own land. So talk to them about generational wealth. Tell them, yeah, you guys need to invest in real estate and like real estate what? So wars, colonization, and all of these things let you know that generational wealth used to be skills. Used to be skills. A family would be known, they are carpenters. They are brick masons. They are farmers. And they would hand that skill down as something that can't be taken. A skill, knowledge. That's generational wealth. When that father hands his son this skill, it's his son, this is how you do it. And the son sits and watches, he said, okay, now you do it. And he learns that knowledge, and he learns that skill, and they can't, even if they take his whole body, they can't take that from out his head. That's generational wealth. That's what has to be handed down. That's what has to be handed down. And this is what we want to do. We want to acquire that. not just knowledge of the deed, but knowledge of the deed comes first. Because knowledge of the deed helps us know how to handle other types of knowledge. Because some types of knowledge are dangerous. You don't know enough about the deed, it can lead to your destruction or can lead to you destroying other people. Right? So, Muhammad.
Is it haram to get plastic surgery?
Yes, unless it's because of something, I don't know why I'm talking plastic surgery, but unless it's due to something like a person had an accident, burned, and things like that. So it's permissible to try to restore yourself to your original self if something happened to you, or because of a deformity. Then the person was born with a deformity, and because of that, they need to get a plastic surgery. But cosmetic plastic surgery, because someone is displeased with the way Allah has made them, this is haram.
How when you become Muslim?
Huh?
How when you become Muslim and you know it's haram?
If a person didn't know it's haram, then it's no sin upon him, because he didn't know.
Because Ronaldo, he got plastic surgery.
Who's that?
Soccer player.
Men get plastic. Is a man or is a girl? A man gets plastic surgery? I never heard of a man getting plastic surgery.
Because he had plastic surgery, but
He's straight?
yeah. he had bumps on his face and stuff.
Yeah,
So he did something in his face to make it look better, but he had bumps everywhere.
yeah. No.
That's not
There's other ways to treat it than to get plastic surgery like that. Yeah. So when it comes to things like plastic surgery, it's a case study. It's not like in general, the origin is that it's haram. But we'll say the matter. I believe that was thunder, right?
No, that was
No.
That's a trap, I don't know.
Oh, I thought.
I was trying to think.
Yeah.
Mr. Bass,
It's a grass.
Yeah, but
Something's like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
That was,
I think it wasn't like, I don't know.
no, it's just cloudy. It was him just.
I can't be lightning.
but she said the mic.
Oh, I thought she said lightning. I was saying thunder comes from the lightning.
Okay, so let's get back to this generational wealth, everybody. So generational wealth has to be knowledge accompanied with a skill, right? So this is what I want to do when I educate everyone that comes to this class, to give you knowledge, and the way to disseminate it is a skill. Because the way a person delivers is going to affect the way the learner receives it. And if a person delivers it in a confusing, intricate way, it's like being present and being absent is equal. Being present is being absent is equal. And with saying that, I want to give you some life skill points. And inshallah, with these points that I want to give you guys, we're going to achieve some balance. If you apply it. If you don't apply it, you won't get any balance. If you apply it, inshallah, you'll have balance. The first one is what we mentioned earlier. You have to know you. Without your influences, right? You have to have an identity. You have to have an identity. So, how do you know that you have an identity? It's the same way we're learning language. It's the same way you know what a word is. How do you know what a word is? By its what? By its meaning, by its definition. How do you know who you are? By your definition. What defines you? How do you define yourself? So the saying goes, if you want to find yourself, define yourself. You have to know who you are. If you want to find yourself, define yourself. First skill. Being able to look and say, and defining yourself, what does it mean? It means acknowledging your shortcomings and acknowledging your good points, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're bad at. This is important. A person that does not define themselves and doesn't know what they're good at and what they're bad at is delusion. It's delusion. How many times do we get in an argument? It could be temporary delusion, or it could be permanent delusion. Sometimes we get in arguments in delusion. You did so say, I didn't say that, I didn't, or I wouldn't do that. You always do that, right? Especially siblings arguing, right? You have a sibling that does something, you tell them you did that, you always do that. I don't know, I don't say that, I didn't say that before, I didn't, and they do it. So they're in delusion. That's a delusion, right? Okay, so in order for a person not to be delusional, they have to accept their good and their bad. And what I mean by accepting, and that's the wrong word, I don't want to say accept. I really want to say acknowledge. They want to acknowledge, meaning they know that it's there. I know this part of me is not good. I know it's there. So if somebody would ever call me up on it and challenge me on it, I'm not going to argue because I know that's there. Likewise, my good. If someone tries to diminish what Allah has blessed me with, I know that good is there. And it's not based off someone else's judgment. It's based on me acknowledging that Allah has blessed me with this thing. Don't wait for anyone else to confirm what you know that Allah Ta'ala has given you. Don't. Allah has given you something, a gift, a skill, an ability, and you know it's good. And then somebody, that's normal. Anybody could. Nope. Nope. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So acknowledge both. When you acknowledge both, it doesn't mean you're going to avoid problems and like that, but it means you're going to understand life in the way things work, and people will not be able to confuse you. But when you can't acknowledge both and you don't know both exist, people can try to deceive you and make you believe that you're good as you're bad and you're bad as you're good. How do you think somebody can be convinced into selling drugs or becoming a prostitute? What do you think happens when somebody gets the guy says, listen, man, I'm telling you, that, how can you convince me to go stand in some project housing or on some corner for 10, 8, 10, 15, 20 hours a day? I got to worry about somebody shooting me from another group, the police arresting me, and you have actually convinced me that's good? That's good. That's good. And then if we have a list of not old, recent history. So-and-so got killed. So-and-so just went to jail, got 20 years. So-and-so killed somebody, got a bunch of years. So this is what happens to everybody that goes into this field. And you convince me that it's good and we're going to get away with it, even though hundreds of thousands of people preceded us and all of them had the same end. They're locked up. So it shows that when people can be deceived into going into this life is what? They don't know who they are. They don't know who they are to the point that they can be convinced that bad is good and get, hey, come on, man, you going to school, man, you better get out and get this money. You going to school, man, you ain't get no money in school, right? That's how they talk to you, right? They make fun of you when you don't hang out in the streets and like that. They try to clown you. You're going hanging in the streets. You keep going to school, and then you see that guy. Hey, you know, so-and-so just got left. Oh, you know, so-and-so just got killed. So it's enough stories for a person not to be deceived in, but like, we can't even trick me anymore. Like, that's this. Everybody goes to jail or get killed. Very few escape. Very few escape. They had a rap long ago when I was you guys' age. Ages. It said, surely don't believe that song. Gangsters don't live that long. It's getting the rapping. And I shot everybody, and I had every girl, and I drank every kind of liquor. That's what is that? What is that? He shot everybody, didn't get locked up, had every girl, didn't get AIDS, drank every kind of liquor, didn't die, didn't get in a car accident, and it's brain is fine. Come on, impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible. So your identity, you have to know who you are, and by acknowledging, you're good, and you know it's there. No one can take that away. Don't everyone let someone tell you something that you know is good for a fact, tell you there's something wrong with it. Like getting an education, like staying out of trouble, like being respectful, and having good manners and like that. Somebody telling you that's corny, that's this. I don't know what words they use there, but when I was younger, they used to say corny. What they say to that? It's still say corny? Okay, that's corny. Lame, they say lame? Yeah, that's lame. That's corny. That's played. That's, they say all that. I'm telling you right now, corny pays bills. Corny pays
So
bills.
it's lame.
Yeah, lame and corny pays bills. Fly and cool gets you killed and gets you put in a jail cell. I used to be fly, I almost died. I was so fly, I almost died. More than once. Yeah, I was about to be real fly. Oh no, I was a camera. I wasn't gonna be flying.
He gonna be like
I was a camera. I wasn't going nowhere like that. I wasn't going nowhere up there. I was a camera at the time. Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I was so fly, I almost died. One time, I was tied up, kidnapped. I was flying. I was tied up. I was 15. I was tied up with my own socks. I was so fly. I'm so fly. I was tied up with my own socks laying on my belly, me and my eldest brother, and a friend of ours, with 2 guys with 4 guns, walking around over our bodies, saying, where are we going to put the bodies? They were talking about where were they going to put our bodies after they killed us. I was so fly. Let's die.
How did you escape?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those guys, no soul, Allah Ta'ala said, that no soul can pass except by the permission of Allah. So they were talking, discussing where they're going to put our bodies. And then they left. They walked out. So we're thinking maybe they're getting a truck, maybe whatever. I don't know what they were about to do. 3 minutes passed, and I just said, man, they gonna kill us. Gonna kill us. Laying down, standing up, it don't matter. And I jumped up like, man, whatever, and jumped up. Looked. Brother got up. Friend got up. Looked. Oh. Left. Funny, skipping, but I'll give you guys the details because we are alive. So don't give you guys too much gory details. Skip. 10 years later, or 11 years later, right? Or how many? No, 10 years later. About 15. So 10 years later, 25. I'm in Yemen with an older brother who had a vicious reputation. We won't get into his reputation, right? And we're talking about our past and like that. I told him about an incident that this happened, and I told him the name of the guys that did it. And we were going to war, and these guys, they did this to us, that to us, they were going to kill us and like that. He said, take a walk. This is back in 2001. So this is in Yemen, talking to an older brother, American African, we went to Yemen together. So he said, take a walk with me. So back then, there's no internet and all of that. We had to go to a phone booth to call back to America. So we went to the phone booth and he made a call to California, Los Angeles, California. And he asked the person he was talking to. He told him the story that I told him. He said, yeah, and the guy from Southwest Philly and such and such and such and such and blah, blah, blah. He told him the story. So the person on the other end said, yeah, I know such and such and such and such. He said, talk to him. So he put me on the phone. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. It was the guy that tied me up was a Muslim. And it was his brother, his younger brother. So he's Muslim now, he lives in Los Angeles. I'm Muslim now, alhamdulillah, I'm here. I live in Africa, but I'm here in Flint. So subhanAllah, it was by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that didn't change his mind. He changed their mind and they left. So the whole point is, 1 minute, the whole point is that being fly, being cool can get you killed, get you life in prison. Life in prison, the rest of your life. Even if not the rest of your life, who wants to be sitting in prison? Who wants to be sitting in prison? You know, the first thing they do when they lock those guys up, you know what they do to them? Strip.
Take the man.
Strip. Yes. Then they make you face the wall and they tell you to bend over to make sure you don't have any drugs in your behind. Yeah. So the guys, they keep talking, yeah, I did time, they talk like they're tough. They don't tell that was done to them. How come they don't make raps about, and they took me, locked me up, and they stripped me and bent me over? Why don't they say that? Why is that not in the
I
song?
don't wanna sound hard, like,
Yeah, why is that not in the song?
Because it's not Catholic.
Yeah, put that part in the song. That they stripped you and did all of that stuff too. So yeah, that's not. All right. Girls, for the ladies, same thing. For the same thing. You are responsible for the chastity of society. Everybody knows what chastity means, right?
no.
Okay, chastity means not fornicating, not having sex. The only way haram sex can happen is how? Who knows?
You're not married.
Right. But how can it happen? How can it happen?
You,
If the woman wants.
when you like sex, like,
No, not that. Now I'm not talking about how it takes place. I mean, how Mikael.
You plan it,
Huh?
you plan it.
Not just your plan.
The woman.
Right. The only time it can happen is if a girl agrees to do it. So guess what? If girls all say no, boys all have to go to the dad and say, I want to marry your daughter. Right? When we were younger, it's an old saying. As a matter of fact, this saying is before my time. I think it's from your time, Sheikh. No, not that. It's an old saying from the Sheikh's time. No, we're talking about shotgun marriage, like the back down south. If
Can I say one thing? My mother told me when I was coming up, she said, she's good enough to lay down with, she's good enough to marry. So in other words, don't lay down unless you want to marry.
unless you want to marry.
Tell me.
Now, because back in the day, what they used to do is if a man caught, this is here in America, if a man caught a boy with his daughter, he would grab the shotgun and say,
Marry.
you're going to make her honest. So they would call the priest. I'm not talking about Muslims, I'm talking about Christians.
Yeah.
They would call the priest and say, the priest is there for two reasons, either to perform a marriage or to perform a funeral. One of the two. They would call the priest and say, this boy soiled my girl. So either he's going to make her honest or his family's going to be sad. They used to call that a shotgun wedding because he would have a shotgun. They used to call it a shotgun
And it was real.
wedding. And then later on, when the men became weak and they stopped protecting their daughters. Stop protecting their daughters. You brothers that have sisters, you have to protect your sisters. Don't be kiki with somebody that likes your sister, trying to talk to your sister, trying to disrespect your sister. You're laughing with them. Nothing to laugh about. This guy's trying to talk to you. He's trying to disrespect your sister. You're a boy. You know what he's after. So how you what are you going to talk about a sister? You have to protect your women, your mother, your sister, your aunts, your nieces, all of them. This is our job. And their job is to follow that protection. Follow that protection. The men have to have protective jealousy. The females have to have shyness. They come together. Shyness with protective jealousy. That's why there's a saying that says what? لما مات غيرة الرجال انتحر حياء النساء. When the jealousy, the protective jealousy of men died, the shyness of women committed suicide. Right? Because the first thing, of course, no girl wants to dishonor herself. But soft words and slick words, you guys know. I'm not exposing anybody, but you guys know. Think about if you ever done, I don't think any of you ever have done it, but you probably saw it or heard it in the song. Let's say it like that. So if you see the way a girl reacts to words being said to her, you think that's cool. Know that someone can do the same thing to your sister. If you've been tested with, as they say, running game on girls, then know that the same game can be ran on your sister. Kevin to Dean to Daniel goes around, comes around. That's what I'm talking about. What we gonna do, Muhammad? What we gonna do?
I'm gonna beat them up.
That's right. Don't talk to my sister.
I'm gonna cut their tongue.
All right, we had to pause for that. We had we're live, Tom. We're live. But we'll put them in check. I'm with you. I'm backing you up on that. So yeah, so we have to have the protective jealousy for our women. We cannot be, I'm going to use it. This is an old word. We cannot be simps, right?
They still use that word too.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to their clothing.
Yeah,
Like, we shouldn't laugh at when they have to do things
Yeah.
to cover. We shouldn't make mockery.
yeah, make mockery about women when they have to cover. Women do that more than men do. Women do that. When a woman covers up, they make fun of them. Ah, look, she's wearing that. I know she's hot. I know this and that. What is that?
Because we're not dressing properly.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's another thing. What Abdul Haq is pointing to. We cannot make our women feel alone. I mentioned this in one of the khutbahs. You can make our women, we tell them, no, you can't go out like that. You know, you have to wear this, and that. So now it looks like it's only Muslim women. They can't tell because the Muslim men, they look fly. They got on it, you know. What's it called? The new that they banned and then they put it back out. The Kanye, what is it called?
Yeezys.
The Bianca.
Balenciaga.
Yeah. So, you know, the guys wearing all of that. The guys are wearing all of that. And the sisters and the hijab and the sun and the cold and everything and the hijab. And the brothers, you wouldn't even be able to tell that they're Muslim. They feel alone. We have to let them know we're with them. When they see us like this and they see them like that, they know, oh, they have men. They have men. We want them to know that our women have men. Look at bikers. Men and the women have the same outfits on. The men got the leather on and like that. And you can see, when you see a biker woman with that leather on and that vest, you see a biker, you know they're together. That's there. And guess what? People don't mess with those biker women. They know they're together. And they guess it like, I've never been in a fight with a biker person, and anybody been in a fight with a biker person? Well, they know they're really good fight. But you assume because of their attitude about protecting theirs, they're off limits automatically. So we have to let our girls and our women feel like we're with them. They have our protection. We're with them. And it doesn't even have to be like acting over masculine and walking around and like that, just by simply them seeing us dressed just like they're dressed, but in a masculine form, they know that they have men protecting. A sister, you don't even have to know her. She's shopping at Walmart or Target or whatever. And you're there, dressed like a Muslim. She's dressed like a Muslim, you're dressed like a Muslim. All the kuffar in that shop knows that, oh, they're Muslim, they might be together and like that. They're going to second guess us with that sister. You look up any video that you see where a sister is being accosted or like that, I guarantee it's because what? By herself. So, you know, that's the thing. So a sister, brothers, we're responsible for what? Making the money, establishing the protection, establishing the education. Sisters, you're protected, you're responsible for chastity, nurturing, and setting the environment. Allah gave the woman a name in the Quran, Sakina, tranquility. So the tranquility, that's your job. To make sure the environment is tranquil and we have to make it safe, they have to make it tranquil. So everybody has a job. Everybody has a job. Yeah. So rule 1, we already talked about it. Know yourself. If you want to find yourself, define yourself. Rule number 2, wherever you are, try to be beneficial. Try to be beneficial. So this goes to the next statement. Take this as a life rule. Maybe not now. I was in the 6th grade. In the 6th grade, I had a teacher from Haiti. Her name was Justine Prichet Divan. She used to always say her whole name. My name is Justine Prichet Divan. She was like, she was very short and she was really stern. And I wasn't a class clown, but I used to, act up a little bit. Right? So I used to act up a little bit. So I had 2 friends. Tariq Harris, who's Muslim now, And Anthony, I forget his name. Tariq Harris and Anthony used to wild out in class, shoot spitballs. She would always have to kick them out of class. I would try to join in with them, but Mrs. Devan used to always say to me, Mr. Bond. She used to always call the girls Miss and the boys Mr. And just that tone had an effect on us. She'd say boy, or like that, Mr., Mrs. So she said, Mr. Bond. Like I tell you all the time, she said, Mr. Bond, there's a time and a place for it. And then I would straighten out. And I would be cool for the rest of the class. Because I understood. She's not telling me that I can't play her like that. Number one, she's telling me she would kick them out of class. She's telling me not to be like them, or you're going to end up like them, we'll kick you out of class. And then she would say it's a time and place one, meaning, okay, you can do whatever you're doing. You want to play, you want to do that, but don't do it right now in class. Do it at another time and another place, right? So the next thing is, it's an Arab proverb. لا تجعل وجودك كعدمك. لا تجعل وجودك كعدمك. In English, don't allow your presence to be the same as your absence. Don't allow your presence to be the same. Y'all should take this down. Don't allow your presence to be the, what does that mean?
If you're somewhere and don't let it, if you're here, when you're gone, don't let it be the same as if you were here. Like, have an effect on people.
There it is.
Where people are like, oh, I wish it was here.
There it is. There it is. Your presence should have an impact. Should have an impact. Small or great, you should be an addition. If you're there, if you're a physical addition, you should be an addition in other ways than just being there physically. Right? Don't allow your presence to be the same as your absence. The next one, and this has to do with preserving yourself, not allowing yourself to be used up. Don't let, be helpful, but don't let people use you up to the point that what you need to be good in life and to have a good, comfortable life, you lose that giving it to other people. So the next saying goes, لا تكن كشمعة تنير لغيرك وتحرق نفسك. Don't be like a candle, providing light for others while burning yourself. Don't be like a candle, providing light for others while burning yourself. What happens to the candle when you light it?
So then it starts to wither away.
We have a candle lit. What is it doing for us?
It's making the light black.
It's hard enough.
What's happening to it?
It's burning.
It's burning. It's melting.
It's giving us sustenance and losing it.
Losing itself.
Even the wax around is burning.
Exactly. So don't be like a candle. Have a presence. Be beneficial. Help out. But at the end of the day, you have to be there, because if you burn yourself out, you cannot be a benefit. You have to keep yourself in a way that you still can be a benefit. Right? Now,
I'll give you an example of like you're helping all your friends, like do their homework and all that, and like you're so busy helping them that you don't even finish it off.
there it is. That's a good example Evie said. You're helping your friends do their homework. Man, listen, come on, man, I can help you, I can help you. And then next thing you know, you're tired and you're looking like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna do my homework in the morning. Then you wake up, you don't have enough time to do your homework. They go into class, get an A off of your work, and then you don't even get the same A off the work that you did for them. Don't burn yourself out.
So you're basically bullying yourself.
Hmm?
You're basically bullying.
Exactly. Exactly. So be a help, but do not give an excess or more than you actually have of time. So that's what I wanted to say. We're back to here. This is what we're saying. I know everybody have said this before. We're Muslims. A'udhu, a'udhu. So it means I seek shelter and protection. And the reason all of this comes out of this one word is because when we say this word, we want Allah Ta'ala to shelter us from the evil. But when we think about shelter, think about a tornado, think about flood, earthquake, right? Tsunami. All shelter is not protection. An umbrella is shelter, can't stop a bullet, can't stop a speeding car, right? So it's shelter, but it's not protection. So when we say awuhu, this word is so deep that it means to seek shelter and protection at the same time. So that you want shelter from anything that's going to accost you from the outside and protection even from what's going on the inside. Awuhu.
So why do they use so the weaker translation would be I seek refuge, because that's what I need.
Well, it depends on how you define the word refuge. That's where it's going to be at. So the word, what is a refuge, right? So if a refuge is shelter and protection, then it means the same thing. But if a refuge does not provide shelter and protection, then that will make it a weak word. No. Because and ma'ad, or like a fallout shelter, will be taken from that word. Now, Muhammad.
You know Ahi Ayman?
Who?
Ahi Ayman.
No.
He used to be a kafir and he's now a sheikh and he got kidnapped and everything and they stabbed him and beat him so bad he can't even use the bathroom. He has to have a bag in his stomach. And they even have a video of him being tortured and everything.
La ilaha illallah. May Allah protect him and protect us all. And
Him and his brothers, they got stabbed so much times and everything.
he's here, Flint? Something you saw in the video?
Yeah.
Now, so this is what I seek shelter and protection. Then we said after that, billah.
In or with.
Uh-huh.
B.
Right? B means what?
In or with.
In or with.
The only one who is worshipped in right and truth.
Allah is the only one who is worshipped in right and in truth. Other things are worshipped besides Allah, but they don't have a right to be worshipped. People worship cows. Like you worship food. They worship food. You'll kill a human to save a cow. Right? I mean, how mad is this? People want to talk about being humane or humanity. What is being humane? What is being humane? Everybody say you have to be humane. What is being humane? Compassion. Any other meanings for humane? Huh?
Money. It's a business.
No, I mean the definition of the word humane. What does humane mean?
To be like.
No, not that.
To be sane.
To be sane. Huh? Uh-huh. Okay, good. The reality to be humane, and once you get the real definition of being humane, you're going to find out these people are not humane. To be humane is to do everything in your power to protect the human race. And to stay away from everything that leads to the harm of the human race. That's being humane. Human is to keep humans alive. So anything that doesn't cause humans to progress or keep humans alive, the negative and the positive, then that's not being humane. Even if it's harming your own self, you're human. So it starts with you. If a person doesn't do everything in his power to be the best that he can be, to get the best of everything that's in front of him, according to the opportunities and abilities that he has, then he's not being humane. And if he does things to harm himself, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, that's not being humane. That's being inhumane. Right? So that is being humane. Billah, be, in or with. Allah, the only one. Worship. In right and truth. Whoever is worshipped beside Allah has no right to be worshipped and is being worshipped in false. It's a false act of worship. So this is A'udhu Billah. So when you say it, when you understand this meaning, you have to feel it. You have to feel it. A'udhu Billah. Feel it. I'm seeking shelter and protection from the only one that has the right to be worshipped and right in the truth. This is what I'm doing. So now I know I'm going to be protected. I know I'm going to be protected. If we did it with a human being on another level, on a human being that was known, strong, respected, would you have any doubt? Have any doubt that you're going to be protected? Somebody strong and respected. You called them because you felt like somebody was going to do, and then they showed up. Would you be afraid? So then how can we be afraid? We say, that. Allah has power over everything. How can we be afraid? And I'll say, like I said, I want to just have a little light lesson because for our guests, didn't want to get any technical. There's another saying I want to leave you all with. And I'll probably repeat it later on down the line when your Arabic is stronger, but I want to say it today. And the English, you can write it down. The saying goes, لا يتكبر إلا الحقير ولا يتواضع إلا الكبير ولا تقاس العقول بالأعمار فكم من نعم فكان من صغير عقله بارع وكان من كبير عقله فارغ فكن كمطر إنما وقع نفعا الله أكبر. So the saying goes لا يتكبر إلا الحقير. No one is arrogant except someone who is worthless. No one's arrogant except someone who's worthless. ولا يتواضع إلى الكبير. And no one is humble except one who is great. No one is arrogant except one who is worthless. And no one is humble except one who is great.
Wait, no one is
Humble except one who is great.
except the one who is great.
Except, yeah, this one. Except. And no one is humble except one who is great. ولا تقاس العقول بالأعمار. And people's intellects should not be judged based on their age. And people's intellects should not be judged based on their age. فكان من صغير عقله بارع. Because how many young people have innovative minds? How many young people have innovative minds?
Smart.
Yeah, smart. How many young people are very smart? Right? وكم من كبير عقله فارغ. And how many older people have empty heads? Right? My mother used to say, rahimahullah ta'ala, there's nothing worse than a young fool but an old fool.
That saying been around a
Long time. Nothing worse than it. Because the young fool has an excuse. He's young, inexperienced, he don't know any better. But he's old. And he's still acting like that one. That's the problem. I saw a post one time on Facebook and said, if you're doing the same thing at 50 that you were doing at 20, you just wasted 30 years of your life. فكان من صغير عقله بارع. How many young people have innovative minds, good, strong, sharp minds? وكان من كبير عقله فارغ. And how many older people have empty heads? فكن كمطر. So be like the rain. So be like the rain. أينما وقع نفع. Wherever it falls, it brings benefit. Wherever it falls, it brings benefit. Look at that rain. When it comes down, it's going to feed some kind of plant, some kind of animal, insect, human is going to drink from it. So, there we go. Clean up. SubhanAllah. The rain. So, this is what we took. You guys were in Georgia. I see shelter and protection. Billah, B means in or with. Allah, the only one who is worshipped, or only one worshipped in right and in truth. Meaning in right, meaning it's his right to be worshipped. And in truth, that it is to worship him is the only reality. To worship other than Allah is not a reality because other than Allah cannot give life, cannot cause death. And so many things that Allah does that they cannot do, cannot arrange the way the system of the universe, the heavens and the earth works, the sun, the moon, the rain, the snow, and all of these things. So only Allah deserves to be worshipped because He's the only one that has the ability to do these type of things. Any questions? So I'm going to reiterate, the way we're going to do tests, I'm going to select portions of the lessons that we've had to be taught. Each of you want to sit one of those chairs or may sit in this chair, depends. But each of you will have an opportunity to come to the board and teach your teacher and your classmates what you've learned. Because for me, I know that now you have the ability to disseminate, and for me, that's generational wealth. Because I'm hoping, I beg Allah, Ya Rabb, that whatever you guys learn here, and you understand it, comprehend it, and you implement it, and then you go home and you teach it to your siblings, and then you get married and you teach it to your children, and I may be buried in dust and bones and dead and gone, and it's still going on generation after generation. Not just in my family, in your family. So that is generational knowledge and skill. If you give it to someone else, what happens? That's real generational wealth because it doesn't just stay in your family. Everyone who learns from you becomes a part of that generational wealth if they carry it on and give it to others. Yes, Muhammad.
Basically, those are things you said 2 days ago or yesterday. I don't know what day it was.
Mhm.
And you were talking to my dad and them. You're saying that you were learning Bukhari, and then you'll learn more, then you'll teach the other people, then you'll learn more.
Oh, you heard that? Whoa. You're paying attention to that conversation. Nah, exactly. That was a program they had in Egypt about learning Hadith. So the way the program went is that the first group of students would learn the book of Hadith. Let's say, for instance, Sahih Bukhari. So we're learning Sahih Bukhari. Once we graduated from that, and we started studying Sahih Muslim. So now we were responsible. The new class came in. We had to teach the class before us what we learned from Bukhari while we were studying Sahih Muslim. So then after Sahih Muslim, we went to study Sunan Abi Dawud. So we're studying Sunan Abi Dawud. The people that were studying Bukhari, that we took Bukhari, now they're moving up to learn Sahih Muslim. While we're studying Sunan Abi Dawud, we're teaching them the explanation of Sahih Muslim, and they're teaching those who come in after them Sahih Bukhari. And that's how it was. You had to learn and then teach what you learn. Learn and teach. And the ulama say, at-ta'aleem zakatul ilm. They said, kullu mal lahu alayhi sadaqah. Every type of wealth, you have to give sadaqah. You have to give zakat. You have to pay. You have to pay to purify that wealth. And they say knowledge is wealth. And the zakat of knowledge is teaching. Right? The zakat of knowledge is teaching. So, when you guys, right now in class, where we going so far, the first 12 letters that we've taken, is zakat on that? You got it? I'm listening to you guys, mashallah. So now, your siblings, your parents, Listen, Umi, Abby, listen. Give it to them, right? Because honestly, most parents, but they have a difficulty with the Arabic. You guys can give it to them. You guys can give it to them. But whatever else you learn that you see as a benefit, pass it on. Don't leave it in this class. Don't. We say, we end the class and you guys go out and everything that we says is gone. It stops here. I don't want it to stop here. Give it to your siblings. Give it to your parents. When you guys get married, give it to your children. You know, I hope we get to the point where I can give you guys the details where you're actually speaking and flowing it like that, because it's going to be a great benefit. I knew a teacher. Oh, he was so slick. And I'll close with this. He was very slick. And I advise you guys to do it. Teacher, who he sent his children to Quran school like most parents would do. But he never sent his children to Quran school until after he himself taught them Al-Fatiha. Why? Why do you think?
So they can understand the meaning.
So you can understand the meaning. Foundation. Any other reason?
So they can know that his dad knew some Quran and stuff.
MashaAllah, that's a good reason. Abdul Haq.
So that he gets the reward for every time that they.
There it is. So he said, Al-Fatiha is the only surah that you have to recite. Every other surah is optional. He says, so I'm not going to let somebody else teach my children a surah that they have to recite every time and he's going to get the reward. He said, no, I teach my children Al-Fatiha. After that, you can learn the whole rest of the Quran with somebody else. But I know you're going to recite Al-Fatiha. I know. Anything else, I don't know if you're going to recite Al-Fatiha. I don't know if you're going to recite Ali Imran. I don't know if you're going to recite Insan, but I know for a fact, if you're praying, you have to recite Al-Fatiha, and I'm not going to let anybody get that but me. So remember, do that. That was a good technique. But he told me, it's too late, my children had already learned Al-Fatiha with somebody else. But inshallah, the next 20 kids. So we'll stop here today.
Abdullah.
All of you. Naam, Abdad.
Naam, assalamu alaikum, Ustaz.
Alaikum assalam.
Naam, so how can the people online be a part of that test?
Okay, just be in class consistently and you'll be called on.
Naam, okay.
Be in class consistently and you'll be called on. Nah.
Barakallah fi.
Afikum barak. Yeah. So listen, you got kids, they're young. When you guys have kids, even your brothers and sisters, if they don't know that fact yet, learn it and teach them. Listen, I'm going for my brother to go to Quran school. Come here, sit down. Okay, go ahead. Now you go to Quran school. Because he's Muslim. He's going to pray. He's going to recite Al-Fatiha. Every time he recites Al-Fatiha, you're getting that. You're getting a reward for every time he recites Al-Fatiha.
I told my sister Fatiha, then she keep on forgetting it. Then she randomly knows it, then she forgets it.
That's okay. Keep going over it with her. You're going to keep getting the reward. Don't let anybody steal her from you. Don't let anybody steal her from you.
I think it's
You have a gold mine. She just got to keep repeating it. Don't worry about it. She just has to keep repeating it. So we'll stop here. I thank you all for attending on and offline. I appreciate you all. And I really enjoy you guys' company. Inshallah ta'ala, tomorrow is Thursday, right? Okay, tomorrow's Thursday. Please go over those recordings. I sent the recordings late. This is why we didn't take any more alphabets today. Tomorrow, we're going to take at least 2 more alphabets. So be prepared. And we're going to go over the sounding of the other alphabets. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.